Hey guys, Mrs. Draver here. We're going to walk through our notes today for 732 midpoints. So let's jump in. On our notes today, I've started us off with some graph paper once again. So please grab that if you haven't yet. Go ahead and get yourself going with the coordinate plane. I went about 10 up and 10 right, and we're going to plot these 3 points. So go ahead and pause the video now so you can get to where I'm at. All right, let's jump in. I'm going to plot these points as a reminder. We're going to go left, right for the x, up, down for the y. So we're going to start at our origin at 0, 0 for point A. Make sure you're labeling them as you go. Point B is at 2, 6, so right 2, up 6. And point C is at 7, 0, so right 7. And up and down, none at all. So there's point C. It says plot these to form a triangle, so I'm going to connect them as best I can. There we go. So we're going to do some things on these notes to look at midpoints. What I'd like to do here is find the midpoints of AB, BC, and AC. So let's do them one at a time. Let's do the midpoint of AC first. So we're looking for right smack dab in the middle between A and C. And I'm guessing you can probably count it out. It's on a nice straight line. So let's see if we can do that. We'd go in the same amount. Looks like it should be right here, which would be at the point 1, 2, 3.5 in, and right none at all. So let's notice some things about this. I'm going to actually add my coordinates to the graph. I think that'll help me out. Go ahead and do the same. So what I want to notice about this is we're actually kind of trying to do averages. So between the x's, we went between 0 and 7, we got 3.5. Between 0 and 0 was 0. That kind of stayed the same. So the midpoint of AC was 3.50. Again, it's not too bad when it's on that straight line, but it gets a little bit weirder when it's on the diagonal ones, like the next one. Let's do AB. So let's see what we can find for this guy. I want to go right in between these 2 points. And my mindset is, let's first look at the x's. I want to go in between 0 and 2. So in between 0 and 2, we're going to find an average. We'll end up doing 0 plus 2 divided by 2 for the x value. The y value will do 6 plus 0, or 0 plus 6, if I go in order, divided by 2. Let's just simplify each of those. So I've got 2 over 2 is 1, and 6 over 2 is 3. So my point is 1, 3. Let's mark it and see if it works out. 1, 3. Looks pretty good to me. My graph wasn't ideal. I didn't use a ruler this time, but it looks good. Let's do one more, and then you might notice a pattern. So midpoint of BC. Add my little lines above there. Let's see. So we're going to, again, do some averages. So for our x values, it was 2 and 7. So we'll do the average of 2 and 7 is 2 plus 7 over 2. And the y values were 6 and 0. So the average of 6 and 0 is 6 plus 0 over 2. Let's simplify these guys. 7 plus 2 is 9. Half of 9 is 4.5. 6 plus 0 is 6. Divided by 2 is 3. So let's plot this point 4.5, 3. So let's see, 4.5, 1, 2, 3. That looks pretty solid to me. So we've got our 3 midpoints, and it works out okay on the graph. I want to show you something about how this formula works now. So we were kind of typing it in or writing it in as we went, but here's the official formula for midpoint. So say we were given 2 points. We'll call them x1, y1, and x2, y2. Our midpoint, which let's call point M, is the 2 x's added up and then cut in half. And the two y's added up and then cut in half. I know we've got a lot of stuff on our screen, so I'm going to freeze it for a moment, or not freeze it, but I'm going to ask you, you should pause it here, make sure you're good where I'm at. All right, now that we've got that, I want to do one more example of this guy. So say I didn't want to graph it. Say I just wanted to have 2 points and find my midpoint and move forward from there. So say we had an example where we wanted to find the midpoint of these 2 points, -5, 7, and 9, 4. So my game plan is we're just going to plug these into our formula. So notice how we're talking about these 2 points. We can label them on here as x1, y1, x2, y2, and then plug right in our formula. So midpoint equals the sum of the x's. So x1 plus x2 is -5 plus 9 divided by 2 as my first point. My second point, y1 plus y2, so 7 plus 4. And then again, cut in half. Doing some simplifying, we've got -5 plus 9 is 4. 7 plus 4 is 11. And then my last simplify, 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So there's my midpoint point. I could say equals, I guess. All right, so that's what I've got for today. Nothing too crazy, I don't think. You're going to work with these as you go. One thing that might challenge you if you want to try, since they are midpoints, we know now if I look back at my picture, if this is a midpoint, I know that these two are equal. So we could utilize that later when we look at coordinate planes. I know also these two are equal and these two are equal. So when we have these midpoints on a coordinate plane, we can utilize them, especially if we're given a picture and we're told, hey, this point's a midpoint. You can start marking up your diagram as such and using that for the problem. That's it for notes here. So I'll leave it up with all my goods if you want to copy anything you might have missed. But aside from that, let's look at our assignment for today. You've got a couple problems where I ask you to plot some things and check what shape it is. This one's asking you to see what kind of triangle this is. One with talking about if it's similar. Notice it says similar. It's talking about the little triangle and the big triangle. So little FGH and the big triangle FIJ. Lastly, here's some number lines where I want you to find if these line segments can be found at the midpoint. So mark where the midpoint is and tell the number. You could put all the lines in between if you want. A few SOHCAHTOA problems here and here. And this one is interesting. You'll have to use some kind of Pythagorean theorem problem. I'm sorry, I said SOHCAHTOA. These are checkpoints for Pythagorean theorem and trig ratios. So some of them will be trig ratios. That's the SOHCAHTOA stuff. Some will be Pythagorean theorem. This is a good one. Don't skip it. I would cut a line in right here. Let me zoom in so you can see what I'm actually talking about. I would cut a line in right here. And then try to solve something for this right triangle first because you're missing a length you need for perimeter. And the last one has a kite in a park where you'll have to draw a picture. So that's your game plan for today. I will see you guys tomorrow on Tuesday. Keep in mind any of the notebooks assignments, so Friday's notebook that you did from the video as well as the assignment or today's notes or the assignment are going to be checked in tomorrow. I'm just being straight up with you. I'm checking something in from while I was gone tomorrow on Tuesday. Also a reminder, tomorrow is a late start and not a seminar day because it's a late start. So I will see you then for that weird scheduled day and I hope you guys had a good weekend.